A very good morning to you. Welcome to Pan-African Morning. Thank you for joining us, to all our viewers across the continent, and to those of you that are watching us, our international viewers, you're welcome to the program. I'm your host, Audrey Twala. This is Galaxy Universal Network. It's just gone 7:30 Central African time, and we're here to serve you your favorite breakfast show. And thank you for honoring the appointment to be with us this morning. We certainly appreciate it. We're coming to you from sunny Johannesburg in our studios here in Gauteng. Now, we begin here today in a rather disturbing story where 4 men are implicated in the murder of 2 alleged job seekers in the Mkondo area that's near Piet Retief. They appeared in the local Magistrates Court on Monday. The case has been postponed for further investigation to the 19th of April. The suspects are expected to make a formal bail application during their next court appearance.
The brothers are waiting for you there.
Well, the group appeared amid protests, I beg your pardon, from political organizations as well as civil society. They're calling for them to be denied bail. Now, scenes outside of the Piet Retief Magistrates Court as 4 suspects. The farmers are named Daniel Cornelius Milan and Cornelius Grayling, as well as Ottard Klinberg and Ignatius Steinberg, charged with 2 counts of murder and defeating the ends of justice. We saw members of the African National Congress and economic freedom fighters protesting, demanding that they be locked up right away. Here are the scenes from what's transpired outside of the court.
As the EFF are very sad about what happened, and we are saying enough is enough. We are tired of this barbaric and brutal killing of our people by white racists, especially here in Tersibande, because it's not for the first time this is happening. We have got the family of Hatebe, which is where...
Now, the 2 men who the farmers allegedly shot dead at the farm have since been identified as Mgini Koko, 36 years old, and Zenzele Koko, 39 years old. Now, reports that we're receiving indicate that the 2 were brothers. In a statement, Mhluli said the brothers were part of a group that had gone to the farm to ask for seasonal work. It is said that the farm owner then informed those men that they're not welcome on his premises, and it is said that those that came to ask for employment then decided to leave the farm, but later realized that the 2 of them had been left behind. They then went back only to find that they had been kept at the farm by the suspects. It is said that as the men demanded that they let them go, a scuffle then broke out and the 2 men were reportedly shot and they died at the scene. 3 other men sustained serious injuries. The incident happened last Friday. We've seen pictures of the lifeless bodies of the 2 men lying on the ground just meters apart from each other circulated online last week. The 4 farmers were arrested just hours after the incident, and 2 guns were then confiscated from them. On to other news now. The High Court in the Gauteng Division has dismissed the former Health MEC Bandile Masuku's application to challenge the Special Investigating Unit's report into personal protective equipment irregularities. Now, the SIU's PPE investigation in the Gauteng Department of Health found a number of irregularities in the appointment of service providers for the delivery and the supply of PPEs and failure by Masuku to exercise appropriate oversight and failure to act against the irregularities when he was made aware. Now, following the SIU's findings against Masuku, he was then charged with a unit that it was irrational in formulating a dereliction of duty opinion. However, the High Court disagreed with him. They found that it was not irrational in forming its opinion. On Friday, the 23rd of October last year, Masuku filed illegal papers in the High Court of South Africa to have the SIU's findings against him deemed unlawful, unconstitutional and invalid. At the time, Masuku's lawyers said that he has endured an onslaught of unfounded allegations that have been used to tarnish his professional integrity and his image. It added that a reminder to the public that Masuku, as part of his oversight responsibility, initiated the investigation into the alleged PPE procurement irregularities that we saw happening in the Gauteng Department of Health back on the 17th of April in 2020. Now, news coming in from the EFF in light of alleged false rape allegations against EFF Member of Parliament, Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. The Red Berets have warned members to be wary of unwarranted attacks from outside forces. Economic freedom fighters are fuming. This after Member of Parliament Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi was linked to rape allegations in a report by the Daily Sun. The publication had cited a statement from a 23-year-old woman who alleges that she was raped by Ndlozi at a Sandton penthouse where she had been invited by friends for a party. The EFF has come out guns blazing against the Daily Sun's mother company, that's Naspers, which is owned by media mogul Koos Becker. Daily Sun found itself with a bit of egg on its face this after the South African Police Service in Gauteng then yesterday clarified that while the case of rape is on their desk, Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is not in fact a suspect, as initially claimed in the article. Well, like the EFF, police further took aim at the journalist who wrote the rape story about Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, that is Amos Mananyetso. Police claim that he failed to reach out for comment despite being advised to do so, and added that he is likely to have obtained the documents pertaining to the case illegally. Following Ndlozi's story, the EFF also has said they are aware that there are well-coordinated attempts to criminalize entertained leaders within the party through allegations of crime, including rape. Now, in this next video, truth really is stranger than fiction at times, not least the fact that an aeroplane managed to make an emergency landing on the usually busy N2 freeway that's in KwaZulu-Natal's south coast and safely take off again. Now, my director will tell me if we have this video ready for you. It's really quite a spectacular to watch. We heard the KZN Road Traffic Inspectorate spokesperson Kwanele Ngalane say that the pilot had been forced to make an emergency landing on the N2 South Coast Freeway near Mwatule on Saturday, and that road traffic officers had been dispatched to the scene after the aircraft had landed on the N2. Now, we'll try and bring you that video in the second half of this program as we try to get it ready for you. It really is something that you have to see to believe. And stories. We'll take a very short break, actually. Thereafter, we'll continue with an update. This is Pan-African Morning. Do stay with us. My news and updates after this.
Make massive moves.
How can you say that?
That is what it is.
Your mother eloped with someone else.
I just think this is such a genius idea. I think it's amazing.
I can be happy.
It's inside you. It's inside of all of us.
It's about cooking smart that are nutritious and delicious.
President Trump acknowledging the coronavirus death toll could be significantly higher.
You don't want to do this.
There is nothing you can take.
Surviving roommates scared.
The heavyweights arrive.
Inside, finds Pachulia, blocked by Jane.
This is the will of God.
Make massive moves with Starsight. Make massive moves.
Bible is human and divine.
It's important for us to remember.
And I'm part of God's story.
God is sealing you.
God says what he means, and he means what he says.
God is good.
I am very grateful to God. I am healed.
Amen.
Make massive moves with Starsight.
I want you to eat healthy food because it's delicious.
Make massive moves.
Would you like another one?
I love it. I love this soup. This is amazing. The grits are so creamy. Oh,
I take pride in my grits.
so flavorful.
I think that looks wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
Make massive moves with Starsight.
Well, it's 15 minutes before 8 o'clock Central African time. Welcome back to the program. This is Pan-African Morning. If you have just joined us, I'm your host, Audrey Twala. Now, we take a look at stories that we witnessed happening in the city of Cape Town, in the mother city yesterday. An official at the Zimbabwe consulate, who would not give their name for reasons of security, refused to sign a memorandum calling for gay rights that was delivered by about 20 people there. They had marched to the consulate in Kuiper Street on Monday. The official demanded the police keep the media out and that no photographs be taken, and only 3 representatives of the protest be allowed through the gate to deliver the petition. Police complied and stopped journalists from filming on the premises. And organizers of the March for Gay Rights in Zimbabwe, that's Shingirai Musekiwa, said that they had handed over the petition to an unknown man who chose to then discriminate against them, and that he refused to tell them his name and signed the petition. Now, Zimbabwe has been calling itself an independent country. According to the people that marched outside of the consulate yesterday, it is turning 41 on the 18th of April, but still sees gays and lesbians as less equals. Msekiwa and his partner from Elton, that is Elton Chibebe, started the Zimbabwe LGBTQ Crusader movement to repeal Section 78 of the Zimbabwean Constitution. It criminalizes homosexuality. The march was supported by people from the Triangle Project, the Pride Shelter Trust, the LGBTI asylum seekers, and the refugee activists, Pachedu and Queers Without Borders. We also heard from Reverend Laurie Gaum, who joined the march and told the media that the group is exposed and that they're unprotected in South Africa, and Zimbabwe continues to criminalize that community, making them desperate to leave the country and find safety here in South Africa. They have pleaded for the Zimbabwean government to step up and take responsibility for their rights of all their citizens and see to it that the most vulnerable are protected and are able to access their full citizenship. Now, that was a final video from a few years ago when Zimbabwean protesters were outside of the consulate. Moving right along, we go to the DRC now, where a new government was unveiled on Monday. Now, this happened in the DRC and the Sacred Union of the Nation, as this new government is being dubbed to is reportedly made of a pro-president, that's Felix Tshisekedi, personalities, and sees both a reduction in numbers to 57 members, and it is being seen as a fresh dose of diversity. Here's a report.
After an almost 2-month wait, a new government was unveiled on Monday in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Sacred Union of the Nation, as this new government is being referred to, is reportedly made of pro-President Felix Tshisekedi personalities and sees both a reduction in numbers to 57 members and a fresh dose of diversity, that is, 27% female representation, a younger average age of 47 years, and with 80% new figures. The new Prime Minister Jean-Michel Sama-Lukonde stated that the new government's priorities are security, health, education, justice, agriculture, fisheries and livestock, economy, electoral process, infrastructure, and digital projects. The appointment of the new government comes 4 months after the breakup of the coalition of President Tshisekedi.
Pan-African Morning has been following this story for you as vote counting has started in Chad this after tense presidential elections. They started on Sunday, and it is likely to see President Idriss Déby extend his 3-decade rule. This is according to analysts. They are saying that despite signs of growing discontent over his handling of the nation's oil wealth, he is seen as the one who will take the reins when the counting is over. Here's another report from the DRC.
Vote counting is underway in Chad following an election on Sunday. The outcome is expected to be the same as usual. President Idriss Déby winning another term. This would be his 6th. But the backdrop has been tense. Several major opposition figures boycotted the poll. They include runner-up in the 2016 election, Salah Kebzabo. He's vowed to make Chad ungovernable if Déby wins. Several recent anti-government protests also turned violent, and there was a heavy military presence on the streets of the capital N'Djamena on Sunday. Déby seized power in a 1990 armed rebellion. He's maintained his position as one of Africa's longest ruling leaders via a firm grip over state institutions and one of the region's most capable militaries. In 2018, Déby pushed through a new constitution that could let him stay in power until 2033. He was among the first to vote on Sunday.
It's done. We have voted. And now we are going home to wait for the ballot box to speak.
But there are those who allege the ballot box is told what to say. Opposition figures have described Sunday's vote as a masquerade and said Chadians are tired of pretending elections are free and fair. On Friday, authorities arrested several people, including at least one opposition leader. The reason, they said, was a plot to assassinate politicians and bomb polling stations. The opposition said the arrests showed mounting repression under Déby. The government has rejected accusations of human rights abuses.
Britain and Morocco are considering plans to revive a decades-old project for a tunnel connecting Europe to Africa by linking the British overseas territory of Gibraltar to the northern Moroccan city of Tangier. This comes years after the failure of a planned Spanish-Moroccan tunnel project, which aimed to establishing a physical connection between the two continents. The UK has seriously embarked on studying the project that will link Europe to Africa, according to a report by the Arab Weekly. Talk about the first tunnel linking Europe and Africa, mooted since the late 1800s. First put forward in 1869, the planned 38 kilometers long tunnel crossing would link Spain and Morocco through the Strait of Gibraltar from Tarifa to Tangier and was estimated to cost $9.4 billion. This project could not materialize due to unsuitable tunneling terrain and funding problems. However, earlier this year, the project has reportedly resurfaced post-Brexit as Prime Minister Boris Johnson's cabinet looks for new trade opportunities and relations. In an interview with Espanol last year, the former British ambassador in Rabat, Thomas Riley, said that there were many opportunities to develop ties between Morocco and Gibraltar. The 38-kilometer tunnel could be similar to the Eurotunnel which connects Britain to France. If the plan goes ahead, it would replace the Spain-Morocco tunnel project which was talked about for almost 40 years. However, the project between the Spanish and Moroccans ended 2 years ago due to funding issues and floods and frequent earthquakes in the area, making the project being deemed no longer viable. This was however disputed, since Spanish newspaper Diario de Cádiz reported that a recent study by the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Verkehrsnachrichten, one of the world's largest tunneling firms, proved the 38 kilometers tunnel to be feasible. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the British government is willing to complete an undersea tunnel that will link the UK to the overseas British-occupied territory of Gibraltar, stretching to Tangier. With a likely chance that trade relations will develop with Morocco, this project is seriously being studied and considered according to a report by the Arab Weekly. A partnership agreement was signed in 2020 after the infamous Brexit, which stated that Morocco and the UK agreed to see the Strait of Gibraltar potential hub for a 38-kilometer tunnel that will end up connecting the two countries. According to reports, Britain would be thoroughly pleased that this project is finally getting the go-ahead. Even though Spain was the front runner for this project instead of Morocco for many years, yet the project couldn't be green-lit. So now the British have taken advantage of the situation and have chosen Morocco as Spain's successor. This tunnel line will connect Europe and Africa's regions via the cities that are the closest to the Rock of Gibraltar. The tunnel's foundation will be built near the port of Tangier in the Mediterranean. Earlier designed for the 30 kilometers tunnel linking Spain and Morocco was a 27 kilometers underwater tunnel at a maximum depth of 475 meters and a slope of 3%. Serious barriers remained, as it was reported that 4 kilometers stretch of the underwater section contains clay soils, which could be difficult to tunnel through. The project was also expected to see high-speed trains running through the tunnel which would slash journey times for freight traffic between the two countries. It was also planned that the tunnel will enable solar energy produced in Africa to be transported to Europe through the tunnel. Due to the project's intensity, it's being speculated that Boris Johnson has planned to visit Rabat, the capital of Morocco, to take the project forward formally and including Gibraltar in the process. As far as the tunnel design is concerned, several technologies could most likely be adopted, depending on the current situation of funds and how much the UK is willing to spend, considering the pandemic has taken a toll on the country. It could be a suspended bridge having fixed pillars, a suspended bridge on floating pillars, or a submerged and supported tunnel on the seabed. The geographical landscape and current technologies are the two significant factors that will decide which scheme to follow in the creation of this route. Before coming to power, Boris Johnson was responsible for initiating this new strategic relationship with the Alawite Kingdom in his capacity as British Foreign Minister. Through a series of meetings in 2018 with his Moroccan counterpart, Nasser Bourita, where issues related to the economy, culture, and security were discussed. Apart from that, since the UK is not a part of the EU anymore, Moroccan agricultural products can replace Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian products in the UK. Sabri Al-Ha, an international law expert, sees Morocco as a good alternative for Britain to compensate for agricultural products it used to import from Spain, Portugal, and Italy after its exit from the European Union. The relationship between the two countries was further strengthened when Morocco offered itself to the British for better European ties. In return, the British would have a gateway to the culturally rich African continent. One thing that would need immediate addressing is the matter of the borders in and around Morocco, with the primary means of transport in this whole process being a train. The British officials have faith that the tunnel could be a source of keeping an open gateway in Europe. However, Spain does not hide its concern about the Moroccan-British rapprochement in the event of implementing the Continental Link project between Gibraltar and Morocco. The benefits Morocco shall receive from this project are immense. Close cooperation with Britain will result in an excellent opportunity for Morocco, both politically and economically, as Morocco will sell its agricultural products and export other minerals. However, these plans can only be executed once the framework of strategic agreements is established, which will result in economical and political growth for Morocco. Morocco has offered to become a gateway to Africa for the UK, as ties between the two countries have improved since Brexit. Even though this tunnel might be in the initial stages of its talks, it is seen as a game changer for both countries. If you enjoyed this video and would like to get more from a definitive information about trends and mega constructions projects in Africa, subscribe to the New Africa channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos.
We take a look at international stories now. Prince Charles and Prince Andrew, as well as Prince Edward. Now, these are the three sons of the late Prince Philip of Edinburgh. They spoke following the death of their father, Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne, lauded his father's 70-year remarkable devoted service, as he called it, at the Queen's side. Let's take a listen into part of their tribute to their father.
I suppose the last 70 years has given the most remarkable devoted service to the Queen, to my family, and to the country, and also to the whole of the Commonwealth. And as you can imagine, my family and I miss my father enormously.
He was a remarkable man. I loved him as a father. He was so calm. If you had a problem, he would think about it, and that's the great thing that I always think about, is that he was always somebody you could go to, and he would always listen.
It's been a bit of a shock. However much one tries to prepare oneself for something like this, it's still a dreadful shock, and we're still trying to come to terms with that. And
Prince Harry arrived in the United Kingdom on Sunday to attend the Prince Philip's upcoming funeral. The Duke of Sussex was not joined by his wife Meghan Markle, who is pregnant with the couple's second child. Meghan's physician apparently did not clear her for travel amid allegations that there are still tensions between the couple and the royal family. Prince Harry is currently staying at the Frogmore cottage, where he is following coronavirus protocols, this after traveling from Los Angeles in the United States of America. The trip is the first time that Harry has made by returning to the United Kingdom since himself and his wife Meghan stepped back as senior royals last year in March. Now, Prince Philip, here's a look at the life of Queen Elizabeth II's husband.
for over 70 years. Ever since their marriage in 1947, Prince Philip accompanied his wife on tens of thousands of royal engagements. Born on the island of Corfu in 1921 as Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark, he had a turbulent upbringing and from age 10 was largely separated from his parents.
He had a very peripatetic childhood and moved around a lot. And I think that gave him an inner strength which stood him in good stead for the rest of his life. But he didn't see a lot of his parents in his childhood and was brought up by a variety of relatives. And I think that really moulded him and made him very self-dependent and independent.
After serving in World War II, he gave up a much-loved career in the Royal Navy to marry Elizabeth, who, like him, was a great-great-grandchild of Queen Victoria. When Elizabeth came to the throne in 1952, she initially looked to him for advice, but as she found her feet, his role evolved.
Philip had to become less of a formal advisor, more, I think, of a family advisor, someone who would run the family and to take control of issues such as the education of their children, etc., which would enable the Queen to have more time.
He said in a rare interview that he carved out his royal role by trial and error. Conducting more than 22,000 solo engagements over the years, he gained a reputation for outspoken gaffes, a trait which would get him into trouble.
They were called gaffes, but I think most of them he was just trying to put people at their ease and break the ice, and sometimes people are very nervous when they meet members of the royal family. So he tried to make people laugh, and sometimes it came off and sometimes some people were insulted by what he said, but most of the time I don't think he...
Well, still with the United Kingdom, they have eased their lockdown regulations further with the reopening of non-essential shops and perhaps the most keenly missed social hotspot, which is your pubs and your bars. They're able to welcome customers to the gardens once again since Monday. Hairdressers, beauty and nail salons and indoor leisure facilities such as gyms and spas are now allowed to reopen, and overnight stays away from home in England are now permitted. International travel remains illegal, however, unless for essential work and essential reasons. Public buildings such as libraries and community centres will also reopen, as will outdoor attractions including zoos and theme parks. Still, the reopening of pub gardens as the weather improves is expected to give a much-needed morale boost to the British public and the hospitality sector. It comes after a tumultuous year that has seen pubs, bars and restaurants closed for much of the last 12 months. A number of pubs with 24-hour licenses opened as soon as they were allowed to. And we saw this happening with regular pubs across the country. In England, having been fully booked for weeks as drinkers counted down to the 12th of April. Punters will be required to sit outside until further measures are eased in the coming months. Well, it's bottoms up in England. We hope the revelers, they enjoy this much-needed respite. Well, it's a wrap for Pan-African Morning. Thank you for watching the program. Do be a part of the team by watching the rest of our programming throughout Galaxy Universal Network. We bring you lots of news and updates, entertainment, sports, arts and culture from myself, Audrey Twala, the amazing team behind the scenes that make it possible for us to come to you every weekday to serve you your favorite breakfast show. Remember to be kind to one another, and we'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a good morning.